Hey, what's up, everyone? You're currently tuned into TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 in Santa Barbara and netnetradio.com out of Tijuana. Today, we are joined by local computer music weirdos 20.83 microseconds. How you guys doing?
Good.
Oh, yeah.
How am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty well. We were talking earlier before we started that I woke up at like 5 today to get to Playa del Rey by 7, and the 405 is just always not a good time. So, I was stuck in traffic for like an hour and a half until I got there, but that's how it goes.
Southern California lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what because you're going into the city in the morning, so it's like you're with all the other commuters.
Dude, but the thing is, the 405 is literally always trash. Always trash. No matter what time of day.
It's true.
You're on the 405, it's gonna be trash. If you're driving from the valley into West LA by UCLA and stuff, it's always trash right there by the Getty and stuff. Like, I'll go to Jess's house at like 10 p.m. sometimes to avoid traffic because she lives down in Hawthorne, and I hit traffic at 10 p.m. I'm just sitting there.
It was a meme, like a TikTok meme about like building. It was like this dude was acting like he was it was like a drug addict voice, and was like, let me just build one more lane, bro. Like, we're going to solve traffic. And footage of like really bad traffic, but like half of the pictures were like in front of the Getty there or whatever. It was so funny.
Yeah, literally. I think somebody was telling me that like area, that like section of freeway is like the most like congested like freeway area in like the US or something like that. So Jack, you just got out of class, right? Like, what are you studying?
Oh, well, I was actually I was TAing, so I TA in the computer science department.
Oh, damn.
So I'm doing some formal languages and automata, which is some like fancy theory stuff about computation.
Yeah.
And then Alex came by, and we went to, in my program, we had open lab sessions, so we went by that, see what people were up to, within the program.
Yeah.
What else did we see? We were walking back, and then we walked back, and then we saw some people covering Interwave.
Yeah,
we heard it.
Hell yeah.
Heard an Interwave cover band
in the parking
garage.
That really tells you a lot, honestly, about the state of music or state of everything. Is
that's like KCSB too. It's just it was like
Ivy vibes.
Yeah, it's Ivy vibes.
So yeah, for sure, straight up Ivy vibes for sure.
Jack, a question for you about the computer science department. Do you ever run in or bump elbows with any of the TAs, or not TAs, grad students?
Oh, yes, but I've come to like a lot of them. Here's Alex. This one.
Do you know Austin McEver?
Oh no, I don't know Austin.
Oh, damn.
You got to meet Austin McEver. He's a straight shooter.
That's a king.
Respected on all sides.
That's a king.
That's all I'll say.
It's a big program.
So I guess what are you studying in the computer science department? Are you still in school or?
Yeah, well, I'm not in computer science. I'm actually in the media arts and technology program.
So are you doing a PhD or something, or because I thought you guys both graduated, right?
Yeah, I graduated. I'm doing a master's. But they want me to do a PhD, but I don't know if I want to commit to living in Santa Barbara for that long.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a long time. I didn't know that you were actually still up there.
Yeah, but it's a pretty nice program because I could I've learned. It took me a while to learn this, but I learned I can do whatever I want. I just got to convince them what I'm doing. So it's I do something funky, and then I kind of try to argue for why this funky thing is interesting. And then if they get on board, they get on board, and then we call it a day. I got a degree.
That's what I like to hear, dude. That's honestly sick.
Yeah.
So I guess what do you like work? What are you studying? What are you trying to study? I guess what'd you convince them of?
I've been doing so this last week. So I told, for the people listening in, I told them about how I'm usually an 8-hour sleeper, but now I've toned it down to a 6-hour, kind of randomly, and it was is because I was working on these ideas that involved these like paintings, these kind of things. It's like these drawings where I kind of like free associate on these like things, and I just kind of followed the traces of my own mind, and I was trying to like formalize what was going on mathematically. So I tried to build up a mathematical model for my own head and then kind of go with that. And it actually started kind of working. And then I went on a run to think about it more because I like to do a little bit of math and then kind of like pose some questions and then go on a run and like think about it. And then I had like, oh my gosh, I had such an illuminating experience. I had an absolutely like, and ever since then, you know, for the last 2 weeks, I was like going on tears. Like I got papers on the wall. There's 3 of my best papers. And then I got this over there. And then I eventually turned it into a paper, and the paper's called This. Maybe I could send it to you later. But it was like tumultuous, and I'd go out in the fields and I'd like cry all the time, but like it ended up working out, and I'm still running off of the high. And then one of the times on the really bad day when like I feel like my ideas weren't getting anywhere, I was like, I would try to kind of like model myself, right? And then it would just blow up. Like my model would stop working or whatever. And I fucking put this on my hat, which I kind of regret.
Well, that gets you some attention in the hub.
And I was genuine. I was like, at the moment, I was like, this is God. Like, I can't understand myself using my faculties. Like, it's like there's some like discrete wall that I cannot get past. And it is there at all times, and I will never get past it as long as I am myself. And then that's kind of where this came in. And now I'm here.
That's so sick, dude.
So that's what I've been doing in school lately, but I have some other projects that I've been working on. I was not supposed to be doing that, and people were like, Jack, you shouldn't be doing that, but you just had to follow.
Do it.
You had to do it, you had to follow the line.
So Alex, I mean, I guess what have you been up to recently, dude? Dude, I know you fly at some damn planes, bro.
Oh yeah, that is like a side pursuit.
So do you have like a pilot's license or something?
Yeah, I have my private pilot's license.
That's so sick. So do you own a plane?
No, I do not own a plane. I rent them, and I rent the cheapest possible plane I can find.
Dude, you should just buy a plane so that way you never have to drive on the 405. You can just fly.
I wonder actually if it would even save any time because there's like so much overhead.
Oh, really?
Well, you have to like go around the airport, and there's like all this infrastructure you sort of have to deal with. And then like every time you fly, you do this like pretty detailed check of everything. Like even like on a commercial airline, they would do that. You like walk around the plane, look at the rivets, check the fuel, make sure there's no contamination, all that stuff. And so that would take a lot of time even. That'd already be like 15, 20 minutes. And that's built into every flight. So
I don't know.
Lay down reality on your fantasy, Tom.
Yeah, you got a red X in there.
That really bums me out.
I don't want to rant about like people's ideas about flying taxis and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever like flown to any place like cool? Like I remember I have like this like the CEO at my company, like he has like a private plane or something, and he also has like a private yacht. He'll just like he's talking about like, yeah, dude, I'll just like take my yacht to like freaking like I don't know, some other place down the coast just because he feels like it, just like that type stuff. You ever just like decide like I'm gonna fly to like San Diego, or dude, you know what? Like I was in Death Valley and we like went to this really random like hot spring out there, and there's literally a runway to it.
Yeah, I think I know about that. That's like a destination that people know about. The weirdest place I've flown is Apple Valley. If you know where that is, it's like kind of, that's about it. It's kind of scary because it's like all the airspace is different and like has its like idiosyncrasies. And LA in particular is like very scary because it's like one of the busiest airspace in the country.
Yeah, I would be so scared of flying in LA. Like I can already barely drive in LA. But
it's kind of interesting because, well, what makes it confusing is like the airspace is like 3-dimensional. So like LAX, for example, has like airspace that is this 3-dimensional pattern. It kind of looks like a funnel or something. And all the airports have that. So, and they like will intersect with each other. So you have to like do this crazy spatial visualization, and also just like trust that you're at like the right altitude or whatever, and just like plan it out.
So how do you like visualize this? Like, are you just like trained to, or do you have like some kind of like map you're looking at that kind of like shows like the airspace, or like?
Yeah, there's this super detailed chart called a sectional chart that has all of that, and it's like kind of a work of art how much like data is crammed into this like piece of paper. It's pretty crazy.
That is pretty wild, dude. So
that's how it's been for like the last probably 80 years, but nowadays like people use their iPads.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I know like I went flying in a helicopter last summer in Alaska, and the guy was like navigating with like an iPad.
Yeah.
So it's like you guys just use an iPad now. You just like
it's
stick.
App called ForeFlight. Yeah, and it just like has a bunch of information, and it's all like very easy to digest and stuff.
That's sick.
Yeah, I mean it's good because like all the plane like instruments and like the GPS and stuff, that all like needs to go through so much like legal verification for like liability. But because if it's like on an iPad, they're like, it's not a real like plane instrument.
Yeah.
So they can do all this crazy development, but like computers advanced now that like an iPad is like very stable. It's like gonna run.
Yeah.
And it circumvents all of those issues then right there.
Exactly. So it's like relatively cheap, and it can be like, I'm in like a flying Facebook group. I'm in a couple. This guy posted a picture of his plane, and it was this super old Piper Cub, which is like, I think it's like a type of plane, or like maybe the older models, a type where it's wood and then has cloth on top of it. So like some old pre-war stuff.
Yeah.
This giant iPad. So it was like this really old plane and then this giant iPad on the top, and it was just a very funny picture.
That's funny, dude. That's pretty cool. So can you fly helicopters at all, or no, just planes?
No, that's a whole different thing.
Damn.
Helicopters are scary.
Yeah, dude, I remember sitting in that helicopter and just being like, my life is literally in the palm of this guy's hand right now. As he's just like flying me between glaciers and stuff. I'm just like, wow, dude, one wrong move and I'm going down, you know?
Yeah, plane like has some, and there's like somewhat analogous to car. Like there's a throttle, and that's like your power, and there's like left and right and up and down. I guess that's a new one. But helicopter, the controls are like the cyclic, the collective. I don't even know what one is, like blade angle, and one is blade tilt, or I don't know. It doesn't like, it's not analogous at all.
Yeah, helicopters are lame. We'll just say that. We don't like helicopters around here. Well, that's cool, Alex. I really want to go on a plane ride with you soon, dude. When did you pick that up, by the way? I know you've been doing that for a while, huh?
My second year or third year of college, and then I had to take a break because the flight school closed during COVID, and then I resumed it, and I got the license in October.
Oh, really? So it's fairly recently then.
Yeah, it took maybe 2 years, but then there was like a 7 or 8 month break.
And you did this in Camarillo, right?
Yeah, Camarillo.
That's what's up. You ever just eat at the cafe at Camarillo Airport?
I ate there once. It's really popular, but I honestly, it was like all right.
Yeah,
Is there a big wait? Is there special?
There is a big wait. Yeah, there's like almost regularly a line out the door.
Yeah, it's a popular destination, Maddie. Like a lot of people just go, like that are not like flying or anything. People just go.
Shaking my head.
Yeah.
It's funny. This is like such a tangent, but Camarillo Airport, there's like a lunch or there's a brunch rush of people coming in at like maybe 9 or 10 a.m. Like flying. So landing there at 9.
Oh, really?
And then taking off at like maybe 12 or something.
Oh, so people fly, eat at the cafe, and then go home?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
But it's like a noticeable like traffic jam.
Dude, that's pretty cool. So what does an air traffic jam look like?
Well, just like a lot of people waiting to be able to take off. So,
I see.
like literally just sitting in line there and like just waiting for your turn. Feels like Disneyland or something.
So you're just like sitting in a plane, like you're just cruising it like on like the tarmac, just like.
Yeah, they're sitting in a line like right by the runway, and they're like people are like waiting.
You're just scrolling Instagram or TikTok. You're just like looking at TikTok, like, and then you just hear someone on the mic like, Meinhof plane number, you're up.
Basically,
Get him.
That's sick, dude. Jack, so lately you've been making some really cryptic Instagram stories, dude. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yes. This relates to what I was talking about before. It's all coming together. I'm feeling myself starting to crash.
So I guess dude, we got to get through this quick. Jack is crashing.
No, I will not crash.
He came back. He survived.
I'm back. Instagram stories. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes, you just have like those little, like kind of like brain spasms. And then you're like, well, I'm going to document that brain spasm. And and I've noticed like once you start to make a habit of it, like it's weird. You get this like intuition where you're like, I need to do this right now.
Yeah.
And you just do it. Like, let me break down the Propel one from this morning.
Yeah. So for anybody that's unaware, dude, Jack made okay, he's going to break it down anyways. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically the story is me it's stupid to explain it, but I'm going to explain what happens in the story. I have a bottle of Propel water, and first of all, Propel is shit. I don't know why I bought it. And then I spit it out.
It is!
And I kept drinking it. And I think I was just cooking my dinner. And then I was thinking about how I got Propel water while running that morning at around 6 a.m. And I remember how bad it tasted. And I wanted to like really, really remember that. So I decided to pick up the bottle and just take a swig and spit it out and then keep drinking. Yeah, you just come up.
The feeling.
Like, I noticed, like, I have such, like, weird, like, and I feel like everyone has, you have, like, little weird jokes, internal jokes that you tell yourself and you just kind of start laughing.
Uh-huh.
So like, what if you just take that and just like embody it, just kind of like instead of just like leave it in your head, just like fucking like make it a physical act, something. And it's like, usually I love it because like my favorite things I see on social media or anything like that is just like when people have like build up these like weird logics that kind of only make sense to them.
Yeah.
Like a lot of assumptions, but they just kind of leave a trace of it like in the digital world. Or like by like physically doing something, like a really good display of like personality and just kind of like the weird like spaces between rationality, like we have this like rational thinking that we talk through all the time, and it feels like that's who we are. Like who we are like rational beings, right? But like usually the one who's saying that is the rational one, like the I, right? But if you start to listen to yourself, you find these like gaps where like literally your brain just like is doing some fucking whack shit, or just like you perceive stuff and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Or like when you start saying words and they stop making sense. And I want to just kind of like find those gaps like in my everyday life, like whenever I see one, and just fucking like leave a trace of it, and like kind of integrate it into the rest of my life, like the rational part and like the one who does like writing or documents things or like is the CS person. It's like this, you could be someone who's rational and then just have these weird like little episodes, it's fun. It keeps life varied.
Yeah, dude, I think that they're great. I look forward to hopping on Instagram every day and seeing what Jack Kilgore
some improv
is improving. Yeah.
I know I'm not on the Instagram there, but I think that's genuinely just kind of deeply beautiful, having own little microcast, own little language, and not leaving it there as an open book. And if you want to kind of trace the breadcrumb trail or try to figure out different pieces, you could, but also you could just accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
Kind of keep. Little bits of it. I see it on Twitter. I do with even, I mean, especially with like bigger people you follow who have, I think, their own kind of rhetorical standards or internal like language or vocab. That's some of the more stuff, and that really then kind of traces into me. There's certain phrases or turns of slight, I guess I'll use that like it's just me, or it's someone that I'm like stealing from, but at this point it's just my thing. I love it. I think that's really, really beautiful kind of approach to the art there.
Yeah, and I love it because like anyone can do it, and like I've noticed like if you commit to it and you just like accept yourself and like accept like all your weird idiosyncrasies, like people respond to it. Like when you go really specific into yourself and like you take the time to like document it or like show it to people, like it empowers people to like try it on their own, and like they also like relate to it in like this weirdly unintuitive way where like if you go really specific and you like show these like really specific like personal languages, like people like really like it communicates to others. I don't know why. There's like something that's where like this comes in.
Well, there's definitely like a level of genuineness to
yeah,
it,
there
right?
is, yeah.
And, like vulnerability.
Yeah.
It just helps.
Yeah, I think people just like generally respond well to like when you can tell that someone's like literally just being their self. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's true. So it's nice, and that's the goal.
it's just entirely improv. Like you don't have to like, think of anything beforehand. It's just like you think of it and then you just bam, film it.
Yeah, like they happen in like 5-second loop. Like the idea comes and
So you just whip out the phone and then just do it.
And I just start doing it.
That's so sick. That's so sick.
And it's hard because there's like an interesting dynamic, right? Where if you start to do it a lot, right, you start to be like, okay, this is like my thing. So you like whip it out just for the sake of doing it, Yeah. So you got to kind of like reel that back sometimes. You know?
I feel that. Yeah.
Really like a content creator for your own personality or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, totally true.
So it's kind of like this weird little like dance you got to do where you got to like be able to listen to your body and listen to yourself and be like, do I really feel the need to do this? Or like, is it like just like some external pressure that like is
order.
Yes. Second order pressure doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's
why you're putting it.
Yeah, exactly. That was really interesting, actually. That's cool.
Yeah. Second order and first. Oh, we could go into the whole thing about second order.
Just give me a brief. Give me a brief. What is that? Just briefly.
Well, like, because there's, I don't know, social media is like a relatively new thing, and I think it informs our thinking like way more than we realize. Because think about the last time you went to a restaurant, say, and like didn't look at a review of it or something, or like didn't hear about it like from someone else. Like you just went in and like had the experience and like made a judgment on your own. And like I can't think of the last time I did it. And so there's a weird thing where like you probably form your opinions against the backdrop of the other people's views of it, right? And so we talk about that a lot as like a kind of second order thinking. Yeah.
As opposed to first order is like the good thought experiment. Like let's say you like want to decide if you like a movie or not, right? Like the goal is to like minimize the second order thought and just focus, like go to the movie and see if you felt anything. Like really like self-reflect. It's like, did I feel anything from this? And try to like minimize like, oh, like where does this movie lay contextually within your friend group, or, like the greater culture? Just like try to like embrace the movie as it is and like just like say, do you like it or do you not like it? And it's kind of like Arkham Razor, like simplified.
Arkham Razor.
I love that Batman game. It's really good.
Arkham
Razor.
I never.
I'm Batman Arkham City.
I mean, just before we had started recording this, you had asked, or I brought up how it's like, I just rent CDs from the library. I don't listen to music. I've not. And I do that on like an album I'd recently bought and I never heard was M83's Dead Cities, Red Seas, and Lost Ghosts or whatever. And I'm listening to it on the freeway and I just keep saying like, motherfucking God, this guy rules. Like, not like knowing like bits of the contextual pieces, but then just on like a pure intrinsic level being like, fuck, this is some of the best shit I'm like hearing all month. This is like just being so blown away, not needing anyone's opinion or anything. At a certain point, I think that kind of stuff does get easier where you just have your own experiences or wheelhouse to kind of pull from, a personal context, but also just to get to that basic question of like, is this making me feel something?
Yeah, the thing is that probably always was like the second order thought or whatever, like backdropping against other people's opinions always occurred, right? As long as like people were telling, like, I don't know, in the 1910s.
Villages have always existed.
Villages that people have always talked about their opinions on things. But I think with social media, the thing is like it's not like embedded in just like the scope. It's like into like this huge macro cultural context that you like place your opinions and like thoughts.
Yeah,
like
and like
M83, right? I'm like thinking about M83 and like that gives like workout Spotify playlist vibes.
Oh.
So I think about that and I'm like M83, but then it's like that's totally like manufactured.
Like super abstract.
Yeah, like what does that even mean? That's not the music. That's like totally just the byproduct of like other external pressures. It's like no reason to impart that onto the music.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have lots of thoughts about that.
Yeah, definitely. I've never thought about that, but that's actually kind of true. And I feel like that like literally any opinion that you could have, I feel like social media influences that on like a really large scale too. Like social media can like make or break literally anything, you know, like say there's like someone with like some influence or something that like has a certain opinion on say like a record or something, I guess we could say like that record can just entirely flop because like one critic was like, this is trash, you know, and nobody will listen to it or something, you know?
It's like this bug that's implanted in your mind.
Exactly.
So like, to listen to it, they're like, oh, but this person didn't like it. This person didn't like it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, if you listen to it, you're just already going to have like, oh yeah, this is just trash. You know, it's like, you're already going into it with like, I don't know.
Like here's actually, I guess, a funny, like right now in real time context. The Kendrick Lamar album just came out 20 minutes ago, the new one. Already, I've got people on Discord that are going off. One person we interviewed is very excited that a person from a trip hop band is on the album. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that has probably always occurred, but the internet just like makes it all so fast and
just like that.
And like it's interesting to see how it influences your thought. Like I was thinking about it the other day, like I was like wondering how many people have taken a trip somewhere as the result of like thinking that it's like a photogenic place to like post on social media or something.
Oh my
I'm sure a lot, dude.
Wow. A lot. And then also, but that's like such a weird thing because like people will say like, oh bro, it's just social media, like it's not real, like all this stuff. But it's like if it exerts like this app and like the use of it exerts the level of pressure for someone to like plan an entire trip and like spatially move themselves like to a faraway place, it's like pretty crazy. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure it happens on like a large scale like that, like I don't know, like moving their entire life. But I mean, like even just like in LA, like have you guys ever been to that like makeup store Glossier?
No, I've heard of that though.
So Glossier, it's like
great experience.
Yeah, me and Maddie have gone with the boys before. And they have like this room like in the stores with like a bunch of mirrors and stuff that's specifically made for you to go in there and just take photos and post. You know what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that, or like anywhere in LA, like you see those murals where it's like, you see this one often too. It's like the Angel Wing mural. I don't know where the hell that is, probably somewhere in West LA, but you know, people are going there like, oh, I want to take a picture specifically with like this mural.
Yeah.
You know?
And so it's a weird thing where people want to say like, oh, it's social media, and I mean, everyone understands that it has like a big effect on our psyche, but they also want to think that, and I would want to think that too, that it's like somewhat removed from the real world.
Yeah, everybody likes to think that.
It like exerts those pressures, and those are like the superficial pressures where you can like draw a direct link. So it's like, if those are the superficial pressures that produce effects that we see, then it's like, what are all the underlying things? I don't know. It's interesting, but Another thing is like with the restaurant thing, just because it's an example, it's like nice to just like go to like be walking around and just like walk into a restaurant and like not think about what the reviews of it are. And then you kind of also realize that like not every meal you have like needs to be like 100% perfect.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I'm a fan of just like going to like random places like that and just trying it, you know? And me and Jess have found like some restaurants that like we go to like recurringly because like we've just like walked in and we're like, dude, this is sick. This place is really good, you know? And like we'll continuously go back. Another good example of like not like reading reviews or anything, but you know that movie that came out that literally everybody's talking about? It's like Everything Everywhere All at Once or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually though, I'm really, all I heard was you need to see it before like a Tuesday. And I didn't know I just knew, oh, it's the Daniels new movie. Oh, I like Swiss Army Man.
Yeah,
Very glad that's all I knew.
Yeah, I knew nothing about it. It's just, I knew one of my friends was like, or no, not any one of my friends at this point. I was just like, I saw a preview for it or something and I was like, oh, that movie has portals. And then me and Jess one day, like I thought it was like about portals or something. And Jess was like, let's go see a movie. And I was like, oh, there's nothing good out. This looks like the best thing. Let's just go see this, you know? And we go and watch it and we're just sitting there just like, damn, that was sick. Like, you know, it was just like completely like knew nothing about it to the point where it was like, wow, dude, I was not expecting anything in that movie, you know? Yeah, it was cool.
Those experiences are great.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy like seeing something like that and just being completely blown away. Like you're just not expecting a single thing and you're just like, wow, that was wild, you know?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's nice to like maintain the sort of naivete or like sort of that like not knowing, because then you like get a better experience when you like
for sure
like it, because like it's just
I guess it's just the simple recommendation. If someone, even if it's a random stranger on the internet you barely talk, just being like, okay, give this a try, just putting that kind of in your memory there.
Those are
it is. And I think this is why also like I'm a really fucking stingent about the way I listen to stuff, where it's like, okay, if I'm buying tapes, it's like, I don't know this album and I just want to hear it to have like a pure first listen.
Yeah.
It sometimes borders on live action role playing at times to like get in these weird like time traveling mentalities.
Yeah.
But also there are moments where I'm like, no, this was totally worth it. And I'm glad I did this, because if I didn't, I'd be an asshole about this album.
Yeah.
It really, I don't know. These things do change how I think you consume art, or realize this is all just stuff that's really lovely.
Yeah. I know we spend so much time being like apprehensive and kind of critical. And a lot of it doesn't even come directly from ourselves.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the stuff we criticize isn't actually because like we hate it or something. It's just because like we were...
It's like passed on to us somehow.
Exactly, yeah. So I feel like the whole reason we have you guys on here is because you guys are making music under the project 20.83 Microseconds. So maybe we should start chatting about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Something music related.
So you guys have been involved in like, I guess like music and like DIY and stuff for a while, and like you guys eventually started your project. But can you give us like some backstory on like how you guys like kind of got into like the DIY world of things, like discovered noise, like electronic or computer music, or just weird stuff like this counterculture that's like not pop and stuff? Like how'd you like get into that? Like what was like your intro?
Should I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. In high school, in high school, I'm from Glendale. And I got really into like the classics of the 2010s, like Death Grips and stuff.
Yeah, respect.
And then
were you on message boards in the early 2010s, or were you following that stuff? Death Grips. Just like to check, just to make sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I got like really into like fucking like free jazz and like all this stuff, and like I would go to like shows. There's some local people from my high school called Pennyback, and they like played at the Smell a lot and shit. And sometimes I would go with one of my like skater friends, and I would go, and I realized I like the sound of them setting up more than them actually playing.
Oh my god!
Like, failures and stuff, and I was like, and like little feedback stuff. I was like, fuck, that was sick. And then they'd start playing, and I'm like, meh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go chat with the homies outside at this, everybody's chills in the alley. I'm gonna go chat with like the homeless bodyguard over.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually I kind of wormed my way later in high school into going to like shows at Coaxial and Handbag Factory. The first ever show I went to was at the first ever underground. So I saw like One at Tricks Point Never and Swans and Modest Mouse like at like venues, but the first like DIY show I went to that was like in the noise realm was at this place called the Handbag Factory.
Is that place still around, by the way?
I think they're just a recording studio. I don't think they really ever play shows anymore, which is sad. And the people playing there, it was Rec and Reference and White Suns and Lee Noble, and then this really obscure guy called Some Pepper. And he's never really released albums. And that show was like one of the most fucking insane things I've ever heard. And probably still to this day, especially that Some Pepper guy, he'd do these really high piercing sounds, and it felt like there's like needles pricking your ears. And I basically got obsessed with that, starting in high school, and then, then I kind of ended up continuing along that route.
So I guess like, this is kind of a tangent too, but that show you saw like Rec and Reference and stuff, was that the one that like got the Handbag Factory shut down for a bit?
No, but we were at that.
Yeah, okay, so that was when I was in high school, so that was probably like in 2017. And then there's a second Rec and Reference show that happened in like 2019.
Yeah.
That I was so excited for. And then we went. Yeah. And it fucking got shut down. The police came in the middle, and it was one of my favorite Rec and Reference songs. And they were just starting, and it was the intro, like getting into it, and then the fucking police come up the fucking stairs, and they take the cash box. They shut it.
I don't know why they do that. Why do cops do that, dude? They take the cash box. It's wild.
No, they do it because they get to keep it.
Dude, they literally like. Yeah, I remember we were at Rexen too, and it got shut down. Same thing. They just took the cash. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna take this.
The thing about the Rec and Reference thing is there was like a weird, from what I understand, there was like a weird, like unlucky factors where like the owner wasn't there, and they kept the door open, which like technically gave they physically kept the door open, which like gave the police like
I see
ability to enter or something. Versus, I don't know. It was.
I'll be right back.
That's trash. So I guess like you started in like high school and stuff. I guess like Alex, how did you like get into it? Like were you going to DIY shows beforehand as well? Like when you're in high school, or even later? Like
I grew up in like an LA suburb that is like on the very outskirts of LA. It's like the border between LA and Ventura County, so like the very farthest edge. I went to a lot of DIY shows, but they were like surf rock stuff in the valley.
I see.
I didn't really like have the exposure to that. All of my like experimental music stuff just came from the internet when I was in high school. And then I came to school and I met Jack, and Jack was like,
that was when I was in my freak noise phase.
Jack was in like a pretty crazy noise phase, but it like made me realize that there are other people who like do it. Yeah. And it was like a sick period to learn, because it was like, I don't know, it would be like there'd be like the one ambient track on like the indie pop album.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, sick, and it just like never connected the dots that like maybe this is like something actually people do.
Yeah.
Like there's like a community.
It's really interesting because like that time, I feel like just 2017 in general for me was like super formative too, in terms of like music discovery and stuff, like joining the radio station. Like I feel like we all joined the radio station at KCSB around the same time as well. Like for those listening that aren't familiar with these guys, they were working at the station too around the time when I started. But yeah, like Jack, like was the first person that showed me what noise music is, you know. I had no idea what the hell that was, or like that people were even interested in like just.
Jackie had a crazy aura freshman year.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that shit was wild. And yeah, I definitely thought that Jack was like an enigma too. And I was just like, damn, this guy's literally just into scratching sounds and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Thomas, you hadn't heard like Daydream Nation by then? You hadn't at least heard like Silver Rock and been like, oh, that's noise?
Dude, I did. Like, I mean, like I listened to that stuff, but it was also kind of just like, I never really just thought about it. It was like, oh, Sonic Youth, just classic. I never thought about people like.
It definitely would be a case like that for me as well until like 2019, just buying Astral Spirit States and be like, oh, like, and just getting it immediately.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I got it was the live shows. That was like what did it for me, because it was like, for me, like noise music, especially like really droney, like harsh noise wall type of music, was like my version of psychedelic music. Like,
yeah,
live setting, it's super fucking loud. You like stand next to the subwoofer, and it just fucking like is so like visceral and like body oriented music. And I think that's what did it for me. It's just like it's so physical.
Yeah,
and I love it for that.
Had you heard the last Throbbing Gristle?
No.
Performance? The one they do in San Francisco. It's really good. You should hear it because it gets real physical.
I'll write it down.
Mission of Dead Souls. Just giving a recommendation for that. Just had to. I liked it, not maybe for the live performance, but for like the pulp novelty factor of being like, oh, those are noises that would be in like a 60s or 70s science fiction program. But we're gonna make a whole album of this now. And just in it for that.
Yeah.
So, I guess like, when did you start like deciding that you wanted to start like making like noise or just like weird experimental stuff? Like, when did you start like getting into like making it, like realizing for yourself that like you can do this too?
For me, it's a complicated story, but basically I almost died in a car accident when I was in high school, and like I should be dead. And then after that, I realized, like, I realized that I should, like, at least try to, like, because I think before that time, I was very much, like, consumer-oriented, where I was just, like, I'm fine with just, like, passively, like, watching people do cool stuff. But, like, after that point, like, I realized I'm, like, well, if I should be dead, I might as well just, like try, like put myself out there and like try to like communicate to people, like not just be communicated at, but try to like build up languages with people and like, make things that are pretty. So yeah, that's kind of how I started.
Yeah, and for me, it was a weird thing because I was always into like creative pursuits or whatever. I came to UCSB as a film major, which is funny.
Oh God!
Almost immediately switched. So I did that a lot in high school, and that was like my main like artistic interest. But with the music stuff, I had like a weird like tainted picture of music, or making music at least, not of like listening to it, because I took piano lessons for like a really long time when I was a kid with this very like traditional teacher. Like she would make us like be very like on the like very precise with like posture and like finger positioning and stuff. And it was a lot of like reading music. To me as a kid, it just felt like there's like this abstract notation, and it's like the abstract notation tells you which button to push at which time, and that's like what music is. So when I like got any indication that would like open up to some extent, or like that's not like really how making music works. Like it's not this thing that's like wholly inaccessible and like totally bound to like these formal techniques and like rule following. Then I was like, psh, it was sick.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah. It expands.
I know. I feel like when you realize that for the first time, like, I mean, I don't make music, but I feel like, you know, I got like obsessed with DIY because I think it's sick that anybody can do anything that they want, you know. And when you have that realization, I feel like your whole mindset just like changes in terms of like art and stuff like that. You know, it's like there's no bounds. Like who can say like one thing is good, and it just like opens up like creativity and stuff. You know.
A really formative experience for me was it wasn't even necessarily the art, but just kind of the idea behind it. I went to the Getty. It was just like a year ago, and there is the Fluxus movement there, right? And like I was reading all the plaques and stuff, and like you start to realize like this is literally just a friend group. Like it's with like this like internal like weird little like in jokes and like stuff like that, but they just happen to like leave traces, like they happen to like document this stuff, and like it somehow like a friend group's weird inner logic becomes like an international language.
I mean,
You know,
that's like literally anything. Like that's like you could say that's what a music scene is. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like literally like any one of like your like if you think of just Hazu Mountain and stuff, that's just all a bunch of boys like that are like legendary at this point. You know, like
yeah, any show we've played has just been the result of our friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
It's a movement. We're a movement now.
exactly. It's like anything like that. Like I'm trying to think of like I can't put like I don't know. Like put something. I can't think of something off the top of my head like a scene or something. But if you think of like any like I guess like style of music that you're like, dude, this is so sick. You know, like this like music like shaped the. It was just like oh, it was just a bunch of homies that were playing similar stuff because they all just played shows with each other. You know, it's like
that's the regionality of English post-punk in the late 70s and early 80s. That's the noise scene in Ohio between like 2008 to 12, which is still reverberating to this day. There's a great post on Twitter about all the artists that are in the noise scene from Max, who we just did interviewed, Monks, who we just interviewed a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
It's like always, it's the boundaries of like a scene or whatever that means are like always assigned in retrospect, right?
Totally.
So,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Is going on right now because if you could like assign a name to it, then it probably has already come and gone.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, you know, when things are going down, it's like, it's not like super sick. I mean, obviously it's fun and stuff, like whatever it's happening, but it's not like legendary. And it's just like after the fact that people like assign like an importance to it. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's happening like in person, it's not necessarily like, or like happening in the now, it's not necessarily as important. It's like, I guess you assign that afterwards. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is super interesting.
It's really like it makes you like appreciate your friends too, because I feel like growing up on the internet, you see artists and you know you're like, oh, that's like a famous band, you know, and it's just like that's just like kind of this like object.
That's what I'm saying too. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
a part of anything. It's just like, oh, they just like kind of miraculously got there.
Yeah.
Not true. You know? It's like you look at your friend, listen to your friend's music. You know, like you don't need to go listen to Doja Cat or something. Listen to your friend's shitty hyperpop.
It's gonna make you so happy.
There's this really good poster that's been hung up at KCSB since before we all got there, but it says, "Come to DIY shows. All your favorite bands played house shows before you cared about them." You know, it's like.
That's a good poster.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just
Radiohead play house shows.
Yeah, right. It's like that's what it is. It's like any band or something that you think is like, I don't know, like wow, dude, they're famous. That's an enigma. But all those people are kind of just like, oh, we're just playing with our homies, you know. I guess like I don't know.
Super. It's beautiful.
So I guess like when did you start getting more into like computer, like making music with like your computer? So like what were you doing when you started making music? Like how, like what was like your gear? Like what were you kind of doing at first, and like how did it progress?
I was really into tapes and guitar, and I would make like tape loops, and I would like use a guitar with a shitty amplifier, and I'd like do a bunch of like feedback from the tape loops into the guitar amp, process it, and then I would do like vocals and do weird screamy bits. One time I made a Twitter bot, and I would like at the first show I played, I read the lyrics off of my Twitter bot's Twitter feed. and just kind of talked that out. Like that
That's
was
sick.
the show. So I started with like really noisy, really analog, like the shittiest gear. Just like I used a single guitar pedal. I used this delay pedal and like a guitar and like a really shitty amplifier. Like the guitar I got when I was like 12 or like 10, it was like the cheapest Fender you could get, like an amp Fender combo. It's like
I know that combo.
Yeah.
I had it.
I did too.
Yeah, I still use it. I still use it.
Electric guitar, man.
And I just got really into like the feedback of it, because if we go back to what I said I liked about the smell shows was them setting up. So it was kind of like exploring that world. And then I, for some reason, had an epiphany one day. You notice a tendency of me to have discrete changes in my opinions on things. So I had a discrete change in my opinion where I'm like, I think a computer would be helpful for music. So then I started doing a CS degree. I switched from, I was going to be like an English major or something. And then I'm like, I'm going to do a CS degree because like it'll help with music. And then I started learning this program called Super Collider, and started kind of like programming music. And it was just kind of this obsession with like finding weird textures. It was like all about texture porn and just getting like obsessed with finding like the weirdest sounds using like samples and stuff like that.
So go back real fast. What is Super Collider? Isn't that a program made by like a UCSB professor?
No, he has connections with UCSB, but Super Collider is just an audio programming language. So it's like a programming language specifically designed for audio. And I use it as a sampler. Like think like the Ableton simpler, or think like a drum sequencer. I just use it like a drum sequencer, but like in a really extreme way. Just kind of like if you could have a drum sequencer that has a BPM of like 1,000 or like 2,000, and then you can modulate the BPM and stuff like that. So just like really crazy sequencing is kind of like what I like to do. Or I guess that's what I first got obsessed with. And it was like an obsession with texture. Like it just kind of really interesting, weird.
What in particular about the texture kind of obsessed you? Was it like tracing it down pathways that, were improvisational, you didn't know where it was going to, or were you trying to build the textures towards kind of a certain like pop or like a climax?
Yeah, it was definitely, it would always start out as improvisational, right? But then by like working with the material, you start to see things. You start to find these like patterns within the material, and you're like, then you start to imagine. Like the material informs like the imagination, and like it expands my imagination, and then I start to see like structures that I could like build within those forms, and then you go further and further and further into it until it kind of like converges on something that's more like slick and like more communicable to people.
Yes.
But I'm not one of those people that could like think of an idea beforehand and like execute on it. Is usually gonna work with stuff.
It's again funny you mentioned that, because I'm thinking of the show that you guys had done in 2020 before COVID. Thomas had put that one together, and it's amazing that it seemed, even though it's improvisational, it's leading towards something. There was helicopter noise. There was very clearly like almost a borderline ambient pop bent, as I've dubbed it, just because it was going in a direction. I'm like, it's gonna climb. Oh my god, a climax!
Yeah,
and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, because I think both of us can agree. Like we like hella texture. Like we like weird sounds, but like we also really like structure that makes you feel, like climaxes and build, and then like overarching narrative. Like that's what makes you cry, and like that's what makes you heave. So we're trying to like mix both. So I think you'll like the stuff we're working on.
Yeah, that's good that you said that, because we're like relatively proud of that part of our music.
I was gonna say, so you guys like started 20.83 microseconds. Let's just put like a quick timeline on it. Like in 2019 or something, you guys like put a name to this.
Talk about it. It sounds so weird to talk about it in this context.
20.83
I think
microseconds.
that, like what happened, I don't know. So Jack and I, were friends like starting in college, and we like lived in the same dorm building, so we were like hanging out all the time. And then we just lived together because it was just like a natural, like, we need a roommate. Like, why would you have any other roommate? And then, so we were just living together, and we were both making music. And like, I feel like there have been weird things where we like developed at the same time or like in parallel or something. So it just like seemed like the natural thing to do, to try to do it together.
Yeah. Do you ever get Eric Martinez in on this too, or?
Have we?
Eric came in. Eric was our other roommate, but he came in later. So, and he also didn't live in our room.
Yeah.
But we met him a little bit later because Jack and I had already known each other for a while.
We had a great experience with Eric. I remember one time Eric was working on a song in one of our old apartments, and he got like really into doing. I think he was working on someone's like video, and we had like a whole day where we were doing sound design with like bricks and stuff like that. So like not specifically with 20.83 microseconds, but the ethos of it.
Yeah.
And those are great.
I guess to give context, our roommate Eric, he made like indie pop music.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But was he at the parking lot doing the interwave covers tonight?
It's more like slowcore.
Oh hell yeah, my favorite kind of pop.
Oh, Eric's.
I
We had
love
a music den. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So you guys like started, I guess, kind of just collaborating and stuff, and then it kind of led to like 20.83. So what are you guys like working on now? I guess like where did it culminate to? What are you guys doing now? What are you guys up to? Like what has changed from like the early days?
Well, the thing with our project is the reason it started because the only reason we've ever been motivated to do stuff is because we've gotten on a show. That's all.
We would never finish otherwise.
We would never do anything otherwise.
We would finish. We would do things.
Yeah, we would do things, but it like wouldn't sound good.
They would be half-baked.
They would be half-baked ideas. They would like never go anywhere.
But then you use social the fear of social ostracization is powerful.
So like the first show we ever got on, actually, like was just a friend who knew that we made music. Zero, who also worked at KCSB, who was the KCSB general manager at one point,
And the Beco manager.
And the Beco manager was like, "You guys want to play this show?" And we were like, sure. And I remember we came up with the name before we had like any music written at all.
That's sick.
And we came up, I remember coming up with the name. That was funny.
Made it a Dropbox link.
Oh yeah, and then we made a drop. Yeah, we made a Dropbox.
No, you told me to make a folder.
Oh yeah.
You told me to make a Dropbox.
Oh my
folder.
god, I forgot about that.
And then I put I was in some nerd shit at the time, and I named it 20.83 microseconds.
No, you named it 10.146.
Oh yeah, 10.146
okay, so
microseconds.
Should we reveal the...
Yeah, we could reveal the name.
The name,
where it comes from.
We've been hoping that someone would be able to like, and I mean, yeah, we'll see if someone does this. We've been hoping someone will like come up to us and like identify what the name references, like without our prompting. That would be amazing. That'd be like a music achievement. The name means it is in digital audio. You take a continuous signal, which is like electricity, basically. It's continuous. It's like you can zoom into it infinitely, and there's always like a straight line or a line of some kind. But digital audio, because computers can't handle continuous signals, they need to break it up into numbers. So it needs to be in chunks. So the way computers handle audio, and you can correct me, Jack's like the technical expert. I don't know why I'm explaining this.
You're doing great.
Thanks, buddy. Computers need to break up the continuous signal into little pieces that are numbers. So they'll be like, at this point it was half, and at this point it was 0.51, and at this point it was 0.52, and at this point it was like 0.2. So that's how you can construct like a waveform like that. And the first name that Jack named the Dropbox was the period that one number will be expressed by the output.
Have you ever, when you guys know, when you download files, they have a sample rate.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the sample rate.
And it's 1 over the sample rate. So if you have a sample rate of 48,000 kilohertz,
Mhm.
or 48,000 hertz, it's 1 divided by that.
And that's the length that one number is output as 1 voltage level by your speaker.
Oh, damn.
Interesting.
So originally Jack named it 10.146 microseconds because that's like 44.
No, that was a 96,000.
Oh yeah, because it's faster. So that's 96,000 kilohertz.
Or 96,000 hertz.
Hertz, yeah. 96,000 hertz, 96 kilohertz. That's the period of one number.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was like, we should just name it that. And then Jack texted me like, what's your favorite sample rate? And I said 48,000. And he was like, yes, 48,000. Because it's a nice even number. It like actually the assignment of 44.1 kilohertz to the sample rate of like CD quality audio. I think you mentioned that a professor of yours, Jan, said that was like relatively arbitrary or something.
Yeah, it's
design. It was just design. So 48,000 makes more sense. It's nice and even.
But yeah,
that's
1 divided by 48,000.
1 divided by 48,000.
It.
And that's why the 3 is in parentheses.
Because it's a repeating.
Because it's a repeating.
Oh,
We had a whole.
I see.
We're like, how do we express repeating? And we're like,
oh yeah,
are we gonna make people put the line above it? Stuff like that? And we're like, no, that's a little too edgy,
we'll do the parentheses.
too nerdy.
Thank you
that's
for
industrious. That's some industrious behavior.
So we made up the name over text because they were making the show flyer and we needed to give them some kind of name.
you needed something.
We had no music written. We had no idea what we were doing. We didn't even know what it was going to sound like at all. So,
but it worked.
It worked out.
That's what I like to hear. So you guys like performed a couple shows, back in the day, and then you took like a hiatus for like 2 or 3 years, and now you're back.
Oh my God.
True.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you want to? Yeah. So we performed a couple shows and then we were on hiatus. But
I think it was just COVID, man.
It was COVID.
No, that's probably what it was.
I got running.
Yeah, we both got really into school. I mean, Jack like went full-fledged into his computer science degree, and then I like committed to the fact that I was going to apply to graduate school, so I was like totally focused on getting good grades.
Yeah, and we were still making music a lot. Like we were making music a lot, but it just wasn't that polishing.
Yeah.
The show like pushes you to do.
Yeah, and that's what's really nice. Like when we got together again to do 20.83 microseconds again, is like we're able to like we have all this like fucking knowledge we've built up in this like 2 years, but we just haven't like polished it. But like once we get together, we kind of like whip ourselves, in shape.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't even think of that, but like we did the first show because my like Ableton skills are like way and above, like they were like here and they're like now here. So it's like when we came back, we just had all these like rote technical knowledge that is like, super helpful. Just like makes it way easier to work when you like actually know how Ableton works.
Yeah. And we have a bunch of solo material too.
Yeah.
So maybe we should probably intersperse that in some shows where we kind of have some of our solo. I don't know. That's
you guys should.
Yeah.
So, with this new stuff, what are you guys working on? Like, what was like influential? Like, I guess just give us the rundown. I think I heard some McDonald's drive-through order samples going on in there.
Are we in the McDonald's? Is this the burial era?
Oh, we can talk about Michael's show.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So the reason. So we've already established that we need, because we're stupid like school aficionados, we like need a due date to like get anything done. So our friend Michael put on an art show in LA and said, "Do you want to play music there?" So like a lot of or that was the push for us to
And everyone else,
reunite.
it was all DJs and then us.
Yeah, it was all DJs. It was all UCLA art kids, and then us.
Wait, when was this?
This was in late February.
February.
Oh, right.
sick.
This is like the one you did like outdoors or something, right?
No, it wasn't in the woods.
Or it was like in
It was
like
under the 110 North Freeway,
that's what
Yeah.
I meant. Yeah.
Oh,
Right near
beautiful.
right by
Right.
Chinatown.
That's sick.
It's funny. You can see like stock photos of LA, like by there, and you
Yeah.
can see the place where we played our show.
Wait, we
like
have.
by Dodger Stadium. so-
Wait, can I share my screen?
Oh my gosh!
Let
Yeah.
me see if I can.
No, this is an audio program.
Are you able to? I know
no,
I'm.
Do it.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not
do
gonna
that.
do it.
It's a radio show. So we're just like, this is so funny. This is such a funny situation, and we're not like, or I don't know. So like a lot of the like McDonald's sample, for example, is a sample of our friend Michael ordering at McDonald's. And so we gotta put this in.
Yeah. And Michael's great. You guys should get him on. Well, he doesn't make music, but like he's talk to.
But it's funny because we reunited for that because I came back to California, right? And then we're like, okay, we should try and do the music thing again. And like you said, because we had like this breadth of technical knowledge, it like was kind of a joke because we're like Michael's like crazy art show under the freeway. Like we're not gonna take this super seriously.
And then we got
And then we started making stuff. And we're like, this sounds so sick. And so then it like got more serious. They were like, we need to book more shows with this material because the audio in that tunnel was like, so bad.
Yeah.
It was like totally reverby and like there was no stereo separation because the speakers were maybe.
Yeah, because the underpass was literally like as wide as this room.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
It was
Yeah.
like a tunnel.
It was a tunnel.
fucking tunnel.
And like 3 people side by side, like shoulder to shoulder, could stand in it max. Like, so it was, yeah. So we made the material. We started out as just like not taking it super seriously. Sorry, Michael, but I think he like understands
Yeah,
because
he
Michael
knew.
is also like a self-referential like artist, and not taking it super seriously. Like we're gonna use funny samples and just like try and mess around, but then it's ended up sounding good. And then we played it at the show and people seemed to like it. There were way more people there than we expected there to be.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, we need to use this material more. It was actually
You need to actually like,
so yeah.
that's
What
cool.
But yeah, that's how our recent run of stuff started.
Yeah.
And then we've just kind of gone more full force into it, generating a lot of material, working more on structure. We filmed the video yesterday.
Congrats.
Yeah,
By the
thanks.
way.
And now we're working to finish up an album. Like the album is almost done. Like once we finish our show on Thursday, we just need like a couple, like probably 2 or 3 more sessions, and then we'll be done. So we'll have an album.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
We have a bunch of other material, so momentum.
Yeah.
And I guess like real quickly before we jump into some listener questions, so you guys have mostly been working in person together, but I know Alex is dipping on us again soon to what is it, Michigan or Wisconsin? Yeah, you got into school in Wisconsin. So
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys gonna collaborate remotely, or are we gonna have like the second rendition of this hiatus?
No, we're gonna collaborate remotely.
Yeah, because
we started working on Discord together a couple weeks ago, and it like actually works.
Well, because our workflow for this session was funny because it was like me on Ableton and it was like Jack telling me what to do. It was like that Migos picture. No, that's like not like.
Other stuff.
Yeah. No, but like on a raw technical level, that was the workflow. Like,
Yeah.
artistically, we have a very complex process. So
Because I would like generate stuff and like hand it to you, and then
and then we would like mess around.
and
with
you're
it in
like way
Ableton.
better at Ableton, so you'd like edit it and put it in Ableton.
And I own Ableton.
Yeah,
That's a big part of
That's
it.
the copyright.
That student discount
Nice.
before I left, and so that translates like phenomenally to Zoom because I just share my screen and my audio, and then it's like nothing even really has to change.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to keep hearing new stuff come from 20.83 and the occasional show when you guys are linked together.
Yeah.
We hope, like, we've both said that. I mean, we never even thought. I think it's gone a little bit further than we thought it would from the start. I mean, we don't like very seriously.
And you guys have a show coming up soon, right? At Coaxial?
And not seriously at the same time.
Yeah, we have a show at Coaxial next Thursday.
Yes.
So in a week.
Who else is playing?
It is Nina Spheres, who we got to know from the show you booked.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh yeah, Thomas.
that's how that connection got.
Also, a
formed. So
Thousand
thank you.
Oaks local from my hometown, which is funny, which I
Yeah.
didn't know.
And then Ian McPhee.
Oh wait, that Ian McPhee was just on a show you booked too.
Yeah, he just played a show that I did.
There you go.
It's all Thomas. It's all roads lead back
All
to
roads
Thomas.
lead to The lead Alex from Sprain.
Alex from Sprain is doing a solo.
He's doing a
folk noise.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Big
It's a
brown
set-
cow.
yeah,
And he sent me some demos. It's fucking good.
Is it?
Yeah.
yeah. We're hyped
Yeah.
because Sprain has been like a recurring like favorite LA act.
I love Sprain. I
and
love.
Oh, it's gonna be
Sprain.
nice. Yeah, I would go to the show even if like we were not playing. Like 100%.
Yeah, Sprain is really good. Everything Alex does is super good. He had also sent me like some demos a while back. I think of like, I don't know, something that he had like a really weird name for. It wasn't Big Brown Cow. It was like something else. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's sick. I'm excited. Hopefully I can make it out for that show depending on what the work schedule is looking like. But
Yeah, it's a Thursday.
you know what I'm saying? But that's sick that you guys are playing at Coaxial, dude. That'll be pretty dope. I've never actually been to Coaxial. I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, it's a good venue.
First LA show on a very good sound system.
Yeah, first
Hell yeah.
Los Angeles.
So we're very excited.
Well, guys, I think we kind of like covered all the bases in terms of 20.83. Was there anything else you guys wanted to add, or should we jump into some listener questions here?
What else would we want to add?
We're experimenting with live stuff. So we have like the thing that we did at the Merton Co-op. We're going even harder into that. So
Oh, that's sick.
Some performative. We have a performative aspect, and it weaves in Jack's Instagram stories.
the Instagram stories
Yeah.
coming
Hell
in.
yeah, dude. I'm excited. That's sick.
That's for the. What was it? I was thinking of I saw Claire Rose in Tennessee when I went over to Big Ears, and she did this thing on the spot where she jumps into the audience and has them tell her literal moments when they feel lonely, and just incorporates that into the mix on the spot.
So cool.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. Like
That's sick.
that's something we've been into. Like the sort of. I mean, we're interested in like feedback on like.
In the tunnel show,
Yeah.
we recorded the people setting up the tunnel, and then we used it like in the performance of
Oh,
it.
that's sick.
Yeah, and it's cool because you like get a multi-layer like feedback where it's like taking the sound of the space and like playing it back to people, and they're generating a new sound as that's happening, and it's like it's cool. I think that's cool. It's like cool stuff.
Yeah. I can't believe that's cool that Claire Rose does that too.
Yeah.
It's like a cool people all ideas converge.
What all I will say is that right now, what Claire's doing live is far beyond what she's putting out.
Yeah.
I don't think she has. Both of those have quite caught up, or if she just wants them to be different experiences. But her albums have been good. She keeps making great statements, but no, the live show, she's doing like books level shit at this point.
That's good to know actually, because
Damn, I want to see
like
it live.
I've
then.
kept up with Claire Rosé on like social media and stuff, and she's like living like a rock star life. It
Oh,
seems.
totally.
Yeah,
all
dude.
over the
Her
world,
Instagram
all the
definitely
time.
gives off rock star vibes for sure.
But also just like on a raw, like being in so many places and like always being on planes and like
For sure.
That's the other thing.
But she also like will give off like,
yeah.
hey, I'm depressed as hell today, actually. You know
But
what I'm
it's
saying?
cool to hear that her live act like has this aspect that doesn't come across in the albums.
I also love how whenever she performs live, she just wears shades. It's just dope.
the one thing that does come across and is really fucking funny to me, even though it's like this is valid, she has said it before. The synths on a softer focus are GarageBand stock synthesizers, and she unabashedly will not apologize for them and keeps using them at any point she can in her live show. And I'm like, good. Good. That's a good sound you got. Keep you like milk this.
Yeah, that's
And just knowing that like. Yeah, like if you know, it reminds me of like Keith Fullerton Whitman's playthroughs, where you're like, or the live version of that he did for Cranky, where you're like, oh, okay, that's the playthrough system. Oh, fuck, this is going where you wanted it to go. Like, it's just great. I just love when people do live shit and they're building off of their studio.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's also like kind of has like an I don't know because people are so I mean you can get so like micro editing sounds and like synths and different timbres, like getting so like caught up in it. That's cool to just toss that aside. GarageBand stock. That's funny.
So, should we hop into some listener questions?
Yeah, if there are any.
Dude, you guys are pretty popular on social media.
That's surprising. That's
Let's
funny.
fucking go.
I take my role as social media coordinator
Yeah, that's all Alex.
very seriously.
Alex's promotion. He does a great job.
Epic. So this first one literally just says influences.
Influences.
Just throw them at us. Lightning.
Immediate influences.
Curtis Rhodes.
Samuel Beckett.
On page.
The fields outside of our apartments. The frogs having orgies there. Running. The dead dolphin I saw while running.
Oof.
Damn.
Who else? Phil Elverum.
Keith Rain.
Give it up for the boys.
Let's see, who else?
Well,
Oh, Callie Malone. I fucking love Callie Malone.
This reminds me, I finally heard my first microphones release in full. And it was Song Island, the compilation of like lost songs and like bonus material, and I'm like, this is perfect. I don't need any other shit from this guy. I just need Song Island.
That's so funny.
that's sick.
Let's see, what other... I've been really into reading lately.
We actually both have.
So
we like got on a reading kick.
Yeah, a lot of books.
In parallel. Yeah, a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the latest book I'm reading, Searching for the Good War. Looking for the Good War.
What's that about?
It's about America's need to recreate a World War II. America's need to have a World War II for pop culture, for everything, to make us feel good.
Oh, I've actually... Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Mostly graphic novels, though.
Interesting. That's really cool.
That's such a hard.
Yeah, that's always a really hard question. Like whenever that question is asked, it's always kind of just like, what do I say? You know, like where do I start? Anyways, this next one says, what's your name about? We kind of already went over that one.
Oh, influenced James Benning for me.
Hell yeah. Let's see who we had a question from my man What Are Waves?
Yeah.
That's Eric. What did he say?
And that was what's your name about?
Oh, okay.
That was the homie Eric. So this next one says favorite movie.
Favorite movie.
Ooh.
My
My most recent is I Drive My Car. That's like the one that sticks out in my mind. It was the first time I went and saw a movie by myself, and it was like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
It was fucking beautiful. It was so hypnotic and just kind of, oh my god, that was such an amazing. There's this one scene where I literally cried the entire scene. I was like crying for 10 minutes straight.
Damn.
And it is so beautiful. Like just the writing and everything. Oh my god.
It's a new movie?
Yeah, it just came out last year.
Sick.
It's really good. I highly recommend it.
Favorite or Synecdoche, New York is probably my favorite. Charlie Kaufman movie. And then
I still have to see like 3 of his movies, but I love his stuff to death.
It's so good. Or I like El Valley Central, which is a James movie.
I've never heard of that one, actually.
Yeah, that's a little bit of...
Ooh, my fun movie to watch is The Lighthouse.
Everybody says that, dude. I still haven't watched it yet.
Really dislike The Lighthouse.
Oh my!
I like The Witch a lot, and I think The Northman is like the movie I wanted to see for him. Like, if you're gonna jump to like get this budget, make this movie. But Lighthouse, despise. Just irks me.
Great. They're just like fucking. Oh, it's crazy.
Is it a horror movie?
Nah.
Not real. I mean, horror vaguely. It's more just like an aesthetic graduate film.
Uh-huh.
I guess that was my problem, is that I just saw him more being committed to the general aesthetic and just like general, okay, they're going to do this. Very little happens, which is fine, but just didn't work for me. Hate to say it.
That's fair. Even when they're like fucking getting really drunk and like there's like fucking William Dafoe screams at him about the lobster.
It just did it. To me, I was just like, why did it have to become this? Like, that was, I guess, the worst thing to me. I'm like, please don't become this kind of like homoerotic thriller or black and white, like think piece. It wasn't deep enough to pull this shit off, I guess is my problem. But then to me to be like, okay, actually just get into a long like rant, just didn't work, which is the saddest part of it, because I really did want to like the movie.
That's fair.
I respect that take, because literally everything I've heard about The Lighthouse is everybody saying it's really good.
Which 2 thumbs up though, and then his new one. No, honestly though, then I think some of the like stuff he does in Lighthouse, at least aesthetically, you need to see beforehand for The Northman, or at least he did that so that he would know how to do that for The Northman. And God, there we go. He did it. He made it. He made his film.
Yeah, everybody's saying The Northman is really good too. I want to see it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, neither have I.
Ooh.
So this next one says, what is the basis slash ethos slash context for the noise? Sorry. For the noise slash atmosphere of your band in particular.
The basis slash what does ethos even mean?
I think
character. The character.
The character? That's not like the philosophy, right? Of it, or
Yeah, that could be actually. Now, yeah, the philosophy, let's say.
I think it's like there's like multiple. First, there's kind of just like narrative structure, like building narrative with kind of like more abstract stuff that is typically thought of as abstract, right? And you build a structure with it, and you start to realize like how kind of like these things that seem like kind of alien, or even just like nature sounds that are kind of used in an abstract way in music. Like, I guess the point is to make music that can force you to like self-reference. Like you listen to it and like the patterns of it and everything in it and the structure takes you like to a certain headspace where you could like self-reflect on like your own life and like basically like communicate and like kind of be a seed for like self-reflection for yourself. I think that's something that's like a little half-baked idea.
Some of the music we've had has also had like, or I don't know, we've been like, it has like a meditative aspect to it, or like a like a hoping that it like is somewhat something you can like meditate on in some kind of way.
At least your performance for this show kind of seemed like that, with the way you guys are just like sitting there, laying down at some point.
Yeah, because like I don't know, this is like goes back to the John Cage thing. I don't know, it's when you just listen to stuff, like you just listen to the world. It sort of like sings to you in this interesting way, and there's like this composition that happens, but a lot of it is like typically stuff that isn't pitched, and it's like pretty broadband, so it's like pretty easy. I don't know. Yeah, you can just listen to it and like, yeah, I don't know. Noise like induces that kind of state.
But I think too is like to reel that in terms of like there's like these very like well marked out ways to like communicate. Like the important part is not to just give a bunch of people some noise and be like,
yeah,
like fuck you, like this is music, and like if you don't like this, that means you're like not listening to the world hard enough. It's more like it's like we know as artists, like I feel like for me, I have a duty to like not waste people's time, and like I want to build like structures where like you could kind of communicate these ideas as a seed to let them think about it in their own personal life, and you like take the time as an artist to like hone it down to where like it communicates well, and it's like kind of like a nice pretty like package that can basically like be the start of something for the people, while if it was just completely like unfiltered noise, it would just like get lost and like be people would just get frustrated with it.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that noise is like it is like the extreme end of a spectrum, like between pitched signals and noisy signals, and it's like weird, or it's seems natural to utilize that end as like a contrast to the other. But yeah, definitely like embedding noise into other stuff is like, I don't know, that's like where it becomes really
and I think this comes back to my idea in the beginning too, where it's like you have like the irrational parts of yourself and then the rational parts, and like those like exist as a whole. Like wanting to like kind of embed that like totality of like our existence into music, I think is really nice, where like you could like say like maybe the irrational part is like analogous to the noise, the stuff that's too complicated to like understand in any like cohesive way, and then kind of the harmonious stuff is analogous to the rational side, and then like being able to like mix those together. It's really nice.
Heck yeah. So we have one more fan question here. You guys ready for it?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
How many plies of TP per wipe? Sorry to just totally like change the direction of where we were going, but
plies per TP. Well, with my roommate, I clean, and he buys the toilet paper, and he buys Charmin.
Nice.
So like, I never told him to do that, but like, I'll take it. It's like, it's almost like it's like cloth.
Wait, plies are the squares, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Wait, okay.
No, but
I misconstrued.
I always thought the plies were like the layers, or like the.
I'm pretty sure they are, but maybe they mean like how many sheets per wipe.
How many sheets? Okay.
I'm just assuming. I don't know.
Okay, so don't count. Per wipe. I definitely. You don't count. You don't think about this. I tried.
Where's my answer? I get.
For a while, I tried to do one. Because I wanted to like really like kind of optimize it, but then it kind of got too close for comfort, in terms of hands. So I've gone to 2. I won't go more than 2 though.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like the comfortable lower bound. Like I wanna the soft lower bound, because you don't want to waste. Like, why would you waste the toilet paper? That doesn't make any sense. But Also, I don't know.
So 2. Final answer.
I can actually respect that. That's
Damn.
yeah, respect.
What about you?
A perfect 5 to 7. I do three runs of 2, so 5 to 7.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I usually use like two sheets per
What if
white.
someone they're like, I just take the roll off the holder and they're
When I'm back,
I buy toilet paper, I just buy a whole rack from Costco once a month, and I just use one every time. Gotta do it every 28 days.
I remember when we were backpacking one time, it was like really windy and it was really hard for me to just tear sheets off of the roll. So what I ended up doing was just wrapping it around my hand and then just,
yeah, that makes sense.
You gotta do it.
you know what I'm saying? And then also that same time, I remember I went behind a bush, dude, and it turned out there was just a family on the other side. Totally just like, yeah, dude, from a distance, like across the river or something. I was like, I didn't poop in the riverbed or anything, but I remember I was just behind a bush and I was like, oh, thank God nobody can see me. And I turn around and I was just like, damn.
Oh my God.
They're getting a nice view of a big white ass. You know what I'm saying? Like,
horror movie stuff.
yeah, for real. Happens though. You know what I'm saying?
Who asked that question?
How many plies per wipe?
Yeah. I can't ruin the end on.
Don't answer that.
Yeah, don't answer that.
Okay.
Is it someone you know?
It isn't somebody you know, actually. It's just somebody from the scene.
Brilliant.
So that brings us to the end of our listener questions here, guys. Where can people keep up with all things 20.83 microseconds?
Okay, the best place to go is Instagram. I'm sorry, because you need an Instagram account, and Bandcamp. But our Instagram is 20.83 microseconds, 20.83.
We should make a website.
Yeah, we should make a website.
That'd be sick.
We need to make a SoundCloud. We have a lot of homework, but we also want to try and get stuff on Spotify.
You need a TikTok.
True.
Jack has a TikTok. That'd be the closest you could get.
That'd be sick.
Pockets fit.
But come to Coaxial. That's Coaxial Arts Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You can look up the address, and that'll be on Thursday, the 19th.
Yeah.
What month is it? May.
12 plus 7.
At starting at 8 p.m. We said. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. Come out to that. That would be so sick. If
Yeah.
someone comes out and says they heard about it on this to us, we will give them a big handshake
Hell yeah.
and something else. I don't know. That'd be so sick, though.
So we have actually one more question here, and it's the biggest one of the show.
Yeah.
You guys ready for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maddie, do you want to take it or you want me to take it?
I'll take it.
Oh,
Right. So you guys finally do make it back out. You get to your next show here. And unfortunately, the crowd has been replaced just by a bunch of rats. Really, just unfortunately here. And they're hyped, though. They're thrilled for the program, and they're a great crowd. One rat, this little white lab rat, though, he's really riled up. And when you hit that climax, he and his girl rat friend, they both jump in your mouth at the same time. And the only thing you can do based on whatever note you're playing is determine if they're jumping in your mouth head or butt and why.
Head or butt?
Wait, so we get to choose.
No, if they jump
Yes.
into your mouth head first or butt first.
Oh, how do you figure it out?
No, what would
just
you
is.
prefer? What do
It
you
just
prefer?
is.
Yeah, like it's
How
happening.
would I
Which one
prefer?
I prefer.
I thought you were asking how do I figure it out, and I'm like tongue. I feel around for like the tail.
Fair.
Head or butt?
I'm gonna say butt because I feel like that's an easier situation for them to potentially get out of my mouth.
Oh yeah.
Because their face will be facing out.
I
don't
feel
know.
like- Yeah, I'd go with butt because if it was head, well, the head might be nice just for the experience because, well, the head,
Oh.
You kind of be like touching tongues with them. Do you think that would happen? They'd start freaking out?
No, it wouldn't be like touching tongues with them. They'd be like in the back of your mouth.
Well, I mean, this is all your scenario. You can choose how you want it to be.
I'm going head first for the experience.
I respect that a lot.
Also, just like I don't know. I'd be, I don't know. Their heads in. What if you bite down? That'd be awful.
And bite down.
Dude, if you bite down, you're killing them, man.
I know.
Damn, that would be crazy.
That's some Ozzy Osbourne stuff.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Because if they come in the butt, you just bite down, and then they'd be like, "Ow!" And then they'd spring out.
What if they start pooping out of fear, though?
You just start getting pellets. You're gonna get hantavirus, dude.
That's fine. I mean, that's like whatever. I'd rather have pellets than like disemboweled like brain and eyes.
That's assuming I bite down, though. I won't
that's
bite
true.
down. Lockjaw.
This is a terrible.
Yeah.
How would you eat a rat? A live rat?
On Fear Factor.
On Fear Factor.
Do you guys know Amps for Christ?
Yes.
Yeah.
My boy Henry, one time when he was on the show, was saying that he would take it butt first so he can slurp the tail down like spaghetti.
Oh, I forgot they have huge tails.
Yeah, you gotta.
Oh my god, that actually changed. Oh yeah, it would be face first then. 100%. Because if it was
Why does the tail ruin?
Because if the tail was in there, it'd be like tickling the back of your throat.
Well, the tail might fold around or something. You know.
Those tails are huge. They're like a whole other appendage on a rat.
Rats also have humongous balls for the proportion of their body size.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, you sold me on the face first. What was the hanging that just
I know, I hear that too, actually.
The door.
What do you think it is?
No, but it sounded like it was coming from inside the wall.
Because it was.
Yeah.
Those are the rats.
That's the rat.
So that's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning into TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 every Sunday 4 to 6 p.m. and NetNet Radio every Saturday 4 p.m. This has been 20.83 microseconds. Next week we have a interview with New York / DC based band Personal Space before we host them for a gig the same week. Anyways, yeah, thanks for being on the show, guys.
Epic.
And make sure to go to their show at Coaxial.
Yes.
It would be awesome to see you there.
Thank you for having us, Thomas and Maddie.
thank you.
Of course.
I had a
You guys do
wonderful
great
time.
work.